The year is 1809, and in Hardin, Kentucky, there's this boy born to this poor family that could barely scrape by. They lived out in the country. They had nothing. And within the first 10 years of this boy's life, they had to move from Kentucky to the state of Indiana, just a little bit north because of a land dispute. And the little bit that this poor family had, they completely lost. They go to Indiana and they start their life over again. And this is the first time for this little boy who's now about 9, 10 years old that he gets to go to school for the very first time in his life. But unfortunately, all they could do was 1 year because then he had to help. He had to help make money and to raise his siblings and to just help take care of the rest of the family. But this little boy loved learning. That 1 year of school lit a fire within him. And he would pull any book he could get his hands on, whether it was science or history or politics or whatever. This young boy started consuming all this knowledge, all this information because of that 1 year of school. At that time, he ended up having to become a store clerk and then a surveyor. He worked for the post office. He did all these little odd jobs in order just to make enough money to have for his family to just survive. This young kid, this young boy, this young man who nobody really knew. It got me thinking about this character we hear on this fourth weekend of Lent, which is King David. But before he was King David, he was just little David. And before he was just even David that anybody knew, nobody knew him. We hear in the first book of Samuel, which is the book about the kings of Israel, and we hear that God is sending the prophet Samuel to a town of Bethlehem. So Bethlehem might ring a bell, right? We know it as where Jesus was born, but before Jesus was born there, it is where Jesse and his 8 sons lived. Jesse was he had flocks, he had sheep, and his sons helped him do that. And so Samuel goes to the town of Bethlehem because God had sent this prophet Samuel, because God says there's the king of Israel is going to be from the house of Jesse, and one of his sons is going to be king. So Samuel shows up, and Jesse shows his 7 sons to Samuel, the prophet. And Samuel, we hear, being a man thinking in human terms, says one of these will definitely be the king. They're well put together. They're manly men. They one of these are kingly material. And God says to Samuel, none of these are whom I choose. So Samuel looks at Jesse, the father, and says, do you have any other sons? And Jesse's like, oh yeah, I have my youngest. He's out tending the sheep. He's out